Some governments are offering cash incentives, tax breaks, and relocation support, not because their countries are dying, but because they're competing for the right kind of residents. Skilled workers, entrepreneurs, remote professionals, and members of the African diaspora are now part of that global competition. And yes, Black Americans are being actively courted. Welcome to 10 countries that will pay Black Americans to live there, across the United States. This video is for African Americans, Afro Caribbeans, and Black professionals who are thinking beyond borders and asking a practical question: if I'm going to rebuild or relocate, where does my quality of life actually improve? As the cost of living in the United States keeps rising and flexibility becomes the new currency, more people are exploring countries that pay you to move there as a strategic upgrade, not an escape. Vibrant cities and culturally rich regions are investing in growth. These are places with functioning infrastructure, strong local communities, expanding economies, and a desire to welcome new residents who bring ideas, energy, and global perspective. Some are gaining recognition as countries safe for Black people, not because they're perfect, but because daily life often comes with less tension, more balance, and a different relationship to race. This isn't about selling a dream or pretending countries with no racism exist. It's about access to incentives, opportunity, and lifestyles that feel more sustainable. If you've searched "get paid to live in another country," "best countries to move to," or wondered what you truly need to know before living abroad, this countdown will challenge a few assumptions. Stay with us as we break down the incentives, the lifestyle, and the quiet advantages most people overlook. The top 5 countries are the real deal, so watch till the end. If this resonates, subscribe to Across the United States. Like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Number 10. Japan. Japan didn't wake up one morning and decide it needed more Americans, but it did look at its future math and realize something had to change. The country has world-class cities, cutting-edge technology, and one of the highest life expectancies on Earth. What it doesn't have enough of anymore is people willing to settle beyond the usual global hotspots. That's where the opportunity quietly opens, outside Tokyo, Osaka, and a handful of megacities. Japan is investing heavily in regional revitalization. Local governments offer relocation stipends, subsidized housing, startup grants, childcare support, and even cash incentives for foreigners who commit to living and contributing long-term. These aren't ghost towns, they're fully functioning communities with schools, hospitals, fast internet, and daily life that moves at a refreshingly human pace. Culturally, Japan is layered. It's ancient and futuristic at the same time. You can work remotely from a town surrounded by rice fields, then take a bullet train to a global financial hub for the weekend, on time, every time. Safety is almost boringly consistent. Infrastructure works, public spaces are clean, and the expectation of mutual respect is baked into daily life. For Black Americans, the experience is nuanced. You'll stand out, no sugarcoating that, but curiosity tends to outweigh hostility. In many areas, being Black isn't tied to the same historical baggage found in the United States. You're more likely to be seen as foreign before anything else, which comes with both freedom and occasional awkward questions. Consider it cultural cardio. Economically, Japan is stable, export-driven, and quietly supportive of entrepreneurs and skilled professionals. Teaching, tech, tourism, remote work, and small business ownership are common pathways for newcomers. Some prefectures actively court foreign families and professionals because diversity is now viewed as an asset, not a threat. Why is Japan considered forgotten in this conversation? Because people fixate on Tokyo rent prices and assume the rest of the country isn't accessible. In reality, many regions offer a high quality of life at a fraction of big city costs, plus incentives that feel almost unreal if you've only known American relocation math. Japan isn't asking you to escape reality. It's offering a different version of it. Structured, safe, efficient, and unexpectedly welcoming, if you're willing to look beyond the obvious. And at number 10, it's just warming us up. Number 9, Italy. Italy will absolutely pay you to live there, but only if your expectations are aligned with reality. This isn't a penthouse in Milan situation. It's more of a stone house with a view, church bells in the morning, and a neighbor who knows exactly how long you've lived there kind of deal. And for many people, that's the upgrade. Southern Italy has been quietly rolling out incentives to attract new residents and entrepreneurs. Regions like Calabria, Sicily, and parts of Basilicata offer cash grants, relocation bonuses, business funding, and generous tax reductions for those willing to put down roots. These programs aren't about rescuing empty land. They're about rebalancing a country where opportunity clustered too tightly in the north for decades. Italy's appeal doesn't need marketing. It's layered into daily life. Streets feel lived in, not staged. Meals aren't rushed, because culturally, food is a social contract. Lunch is sacred. Dinner is long. And if you try to rush either, someone will politely and passionately correct you, probably with hand gestures. For Black Americans, Italy can feel surprisingly familiar in unexpected ways. The South in particular has a long history of migration, trade, and cultural mixing that softens the outsider experience. You'll stand out, yes, but often with curiosity rather than suspicion. Race exists, but it doesn't dominate every interaction the way it can back home. Bureaucracy, on the other hand, does. Consider it Italy's favorite endurance sport. Economically, these regions are encouraging small businesses, remote workers, artists, and tradespeople. Property costs are significantly lower than northern cities, healthcare is excellent, and public transportation connects even modest towns to major hubs. You can live quietly all week, then be in Rome, Naples, or Palermo before the espresso cools. Many people assume Europe means expensive, rigid, and inaccessible. Southern Italy quietly disproves that. It offers history you can touch, community you can feel, and a pace of life that doesn't apologize for slowing down. Italy isn't asking you to abandon ambition. It's asking whether you're willing to redefine success, preferably over a long lunch and a serious debate about bread. Number 8. South Korea. South Korea doesn't advertise itself as a relocation bargain, and that's exactly why it surprises people. The country is globally known for K-pop, cutting-edge tech, and Seoul's non-stop energy, but life beyond the capital is where the incentives quietly live. Smaller cities and regional hubs are actively welcoming foreigners, with housing subsidies, startup support, language training, and long-term residency pathways designed to balance growth without sacrificing livability. These places aren't rural backwaters. They're modern, dense, and efficient cities with reliable transit, strong healthcare, and internet fast enough to make remote work effortless. Life runs on systems here, efficient, predictable, and unapologetically structured. South Korea's economy is one of the most advanced in Asia, driven by technology, manufacturing, and innovation, and regional governments want that momentum to spread beyond Seoul. Culturally, South Korea is intense in a way that's oddly refreshing. People work hard, take pride in mastery, and expect effort in return. Social rules are clear, even if they're unspoken. For Black Americans, the experience often lands somewhere between curiosity and fascination. Questions may be blunt, but hostility is rare, and respect grows quickly once you're seen as part of the community. Opportunity extends beyond teaching English. Tech startups, digital media, manufacturing support roles, remote work, and small business ventures are increasingly common among foreigners. Some cities even provide business incubation spaces and financial assistance, betting on new ideas to energize local economies. Why is South Korea considered forgotten in relocation conversations? Because Seoul absorbs all the attention. It's the cultural export, the Instagram backdrop. This city everyone recognizes. Meanwhile, other cities offer similar infrastructure, lower costs, and a more balanced lifestyle, without the capital city pressure. South Korea isn't asking you to slow down, it's asking you to focus. The systems work, the streets are safe, and daily life rewards consistency. If you're comfortable standing out at first, and value efficiency over chaos, this is a country that meets you halfway, quietly, confidently, and without the hype. Number 7. Spain. Spain isn't just beaches, sangria, and tapas, although that's a nice bonus. Beyond the postcard-perfect coastlines and buzzing cities lies a less talked-about opportunity. Towns and regions actively welcoming new residents with cash, business incentives, and affordable housing. These places aren't struggling because they're empty. They're ripe with culture, history, and a slower pace of life that many people secretly crave. Black Americans are part of the demographic these regions want to attract. Regions outside Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia have realized that growth isn't only about urban sprawl. Rural towns, once agricultural powerhouses, are now offering relocation grants, startup support, and low-cost homes to encourage people to live and invest there. The goal? Revitalize communities while keeping the local culture alive. They're an invitation to participate in something bigger than yourself. Life in these towns moves differently. Time is flexible, meals are long, and siestas are still very much a thing. Streets are lined with centuries-old architecture. Local markets buzz with fresh produce, and cultural festivals feel like they've been running for generations. And maybe they have. Politically decentralized, Spain allows regional governments to design their own incentive programs, meaning each town has its own flavor of opportunity, literally and figuratively. For Black Americans, Spain offers a unique balance. You'll stand out, certainly, but curiosity often outweighs suspicion. Many communities are used to international visitors, seasonal workers, and multicultural exchanges, which makes integration smoother. Learning the language helps, but even minimal Spanish opens doors socially and professionally. These towns are encouraging entrepreneurship, remote work, and small business development. The infrastructure may surprise you: high-speed internet, reliable public services, and easy access to larger urban centers make living outside a city practical and appealing. People assume Europe is all high rent and tourist crowds. In reality, these regions combine affordability, community, and cultural richness, an enticing package for anyone willing to embrace a slower, more immersive lifestyle. Spain isn't asking you to escape. It's offering a life full of flavor, history, and opportunity. All for taking a chance beyond the well-trodden path. Number 6. Portugal. Portugal doesn't exactly roll out the red carpet with a literal check at the airport. But stick around, and the incentives start stacking fast. From tax breaks to relocation grants to startup support, Portugal has made it clear. It wants newcomers who are ready to build, invest, and stay. And yes, Black Americans are on that welcome list, especially those looking for a balance of lifestyle, opportunity, and a place that feels like home without the familiar chaos of a major U.S. city. Why Portugal? For starters, it's politically calm, socially stable, and economically inviting. The country has an aging population and a shrinking workforce, so local and national governments actively court foreign residents to boost communities, revive small towns, and strengthen the economy. Programs like the non-habitual resident tax scheme and regional incentives make the math surprisingly attractive if you're thinking about relocation. Combine that with affordable housing options, excellent healthcare, and modern infrastructure, and Portugal quickly becomes more than just a scenic escape. It's a place to settle in a meaningful way. Geographically, it's blessed. Atlantic breezes, sunny coasts, and rolling hills make it a natural draw. But the appeal goes beyond scenery. Portugal has deep historical ties to Africa, creating cultural connections that feel familiar in unexpected ways. From cuisine to music, festivals to community rhythms, aspects of daily life resonate for the African diaspora, giving newcomers a sense of belonging even while they're abroad. For Black Americans, Portugal offers an environment where curiosity outweighs bias. Integration is easier than many expect, and in cities and smaller towns alike, people are generally welcoming and pragmatic. Whether you're interested in entrepreneurship, tech, remote work, or simply a more relaxed lifestyle, the country provides resources and pathways to thrive. Most people in the US think Europe ends at Paris or London. Few realize there's a sun-soaked corner with vibrant culture, fiscal perks, and lifestyle freedom quietly waiting for residents willing to invest in their own future. Portugal isn't asking you to abandon ambition. It's offering a soft landing with tangible incentives, scenic backdrops, and an environment where your presence is valued.
We are halfway through the countdown. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit the like button, subscribe to Across the United States, and ring the notification bell for more informative contents about the United States. Let's get back into it.
Number 5. Ireland. Ireland has a reputation for rolling green hills, cozy pubs, and storytelling that could make even the most cynical person smile. But there's more going on than just postcards and Guinness. Beyond Dublin's bustling streets, Ireland has quietly developed remote work programs, rural renewal initiatives, and relocation incentives aimed at attracting people who are ready to invest, start businesses, and breathe life into communities that have been overlooked for decades. And yes, Black Americans are among the people these programs are designed to welcome. Unlike height-driven relocation schemes, Ireland's incentives feel practical and long-term. Grants for startups, tax breaks for small businesses, and housing support in towns and villages outside major urban centers give newcomers a real footing. You're not just moving into a scenic village, you're joining a living community with schools, hospitals, and active cultural life. The government sees value in bringing in people who will participate, innovate, and contribute, rather than just pass through. The charm of Ireland extends beyond incentives. History is literally written into the landscape. Castles, ancient ruins, and centuries-old churches dot the countryside, offering a daily reminder that you're part of a story far bigger than yourself. And yet, despite the heavy history, life here doesn't take itself too seriously. Irish humor is famously dry, self-deprecating, and sometimes sarcastic, in ways that make integration a lot more fun than you might expect. For Black Americans, Ireland can be an appealing mix of familiarity and novelty. Cultural openness is strong, curiosity is genuine, and racial dynamics are often less charged than in the US, especially in smaller towns where community engagement is more personal. You'll stand out, but in a way that invites dialogue, not hostility. Economically, Ireland is vibrant, modern, and digitally connected. Remote work is supported, entrepreneurial ventures are welcomed, and public services are reliable. And with towns actively recruiting newcomers, there's a sense of purpose and energy in settling there that you rarely find elsewhere. Most people associate Europe only with its capitals, forgetting that some of its most inviting opportunities are hidden in the green hills and coastal villages. Ireland isn't asking you to escape, it's inviting you to live fully, work meaningfully, and enjoy a life that feels like a storybook, without the cliché. Number 4. Chile. Chile doesn't just invite you, it invests in you, then hands you a clipboard and asks what you plan to build. This is a country that treats ambition like a renewable resource. Through programs like Startup Chile, foreign entrepreneurs can receive equity-free grants, visas, and government support, simply for showing up with a solid idea and the willingness to execute. No ownership taken, no shady fine print, just a quiet expectation that you'll actually do something useful. For Black Americans looking for opportunity without the side of chaos, that alone is eye-opening. Politically, Chile is one of South America's steadiest players. It's had its dramatic chapters, dictatorship, protests, constitutional debates, but today it functions with an efficiency that surprises people who still picture the region as permanently developing. The currency mostly behaves. The Wi-Fi definitely works. Chile is serious about being taken seriously, even if the rest of the world still confuses it with Argentina after 3 seconds of Googling. Geographically, Chile looks like it was designed by someone who refused to pick just one ecosystem. To the north, the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, where it doesn't rain so much as politely declines to exist. To the south, glaciers, fjords, and landscapes that look like Patagonia is flexing. In between, wine valleys, Pacific beaches, and Santiago, a capital city wedged between mountains that remind you daily you are not in charge here. Culturally, Chileans are reserved, dry-humored, and allergic to unnecessary drama, which, depending on where you're coming from, can feel either refreshing or mildly unsettling. Afro-descendant communities exist, but are smaller and often overlooked, especially outside the north. That said, Black Americans often report a different experience than tourists expect. Curiosity instead of hostility, distance instead of obsession. You're noticed, but not turned into a performance. Economically, Chile punches above its weight. It's a major exporter of copper, lithium, wine, and salmon, and it's quietly positioning itself for the green energy future. That's why programs like Startup Chile exist. The government wants talent, ideas, and global connections. If you bring value, Chile brings resources. Number 3. Rwanda. Rwanda doesn't beg for attention. It schedules it, files it neatly, and follows up with an email. For members of the African diaspora, especially Black Americans, Rwanda has made it very clear. If you want to live, invest, or build here, the door is open and the process is surprisingly straightforward. Through investment incentives, business grants, and long-term residency pathways, the country actively courts returnees and global Black talent, not with slogans, but with paperwork that actually gets approved. This is a nation that rebuilt itself with an almost unsettling level of discipline. After the 1994 genocide, Rwanda could have remained frozen in tragedy. Instead, it chose relentless forward motion. Today, Kigali is often called one of the cleanest cities in Africa, and that's not a tourism exaggeration. Plastic bags are banned, streets are swept. Monthly community service, umuganda, is mandatory. Even the sidewalks seem to be held to a higher moral standard. The government is famously obsessed with efficiency. Permits that take months elsewhere can take days here. Internet speeds are fast, mobile payments are everywhere, and corruption, while not imaginary, is treated like a public enemy instead of an open secret. Rwanda's leadership is controversial in some circles for being tightly controlled, but it's also undeniably effective. Rwanda is quiet, polite, and intentional. This is not a place of loud chaos or aggressive hustle. Conversations are measured. Respect is currency. As a Black American, you blend in visually but stand out culturally, which creates a unique experience. You're not othered by skin color, but you are noticed for your accent, your expectations, and your pace. Many diaspora returnees describe it as grounding and occasionally humbling. Economically, Rwanda is positioning itself as a tech and services hub for East Africa. It doesn't have oil or massive mineral wealth, so it invests in people, systems, and branding. Conferences, startups, green energy projects, and Pan-African initiatives flow through Kigali like it's quietly auditioning for a bigger role on the world stage. Number 2. Uruguay. Uruguay doesn't chase attention. It files its paperwork, balances its budget, and goes home at a reasonable hour. And somehow, that's exactly why it works. For Black Americans looking for a country that quietly makes relocation easier, Uruguay offers a combination of tax incentives, clear residency pathways, and business-friendly policies that feel almost suspiciously calm. No flashy marketing campaigns, no paradise hype, just systems that function. Residency here is refreshingly straightforward. Uruguay has long welcomed foreigners, offering temporary and permanent residency options that don't require you to be a millionaire, famous, or emotionally attached to crypto. Add in favorable tax rules, especially for new residents with foreign-sourced income, and you get a country that doesn't punish you for existing globally. It's not paying you cash, but it's definitely choosing not to take it from you, which, in today's world, feels generous. Politically, Uruguay is one of Latin America's most stable democracies. Power changes hands peacefully. Institutions hold. The rule of law is more than a slogan. This is a place where protests happen, but so does compromise. It's consistently ranked high for transparency, civil liberties, and quality of life. In short, it's boring in the most comforting way possible. The kind of boring where nothing unexpected ruins your week. Geographically, Uruguay is small but well-balanced. Rolling grasslands dominate the interior, fueling an economy built on agriculture, beef, and exports. The coast offers relaxed beach towns like Punta del Este, glamorous when it wants to be, sleepy when it doesn't. Montevideo, the capital, feels like a European city that decided to loosen its tie and stay by the water. Culturally, Uruguayans value privacy, personal space, and understatement. This isn't a loud country. Conversations are measured, humor is dry, and drama is treated like a bad habit. For Black Americans, the experience can be quietly refreshing. Afro-Uruguayan history is deep, rooted in candombe music, carnival traditions, and resistance, but it's often underrepresented in national storytelling. Blackness exists here, but it's not always centered. Economically, Uruguay is pragmatic. It invests in renewable energy, tech services, and education, and it consistently punches above its weight in human development. You won't get rich overnight, but you also won't feel like the system is working against you. Uruguay offers stability, dignity, and predictability, and trusts that the right people will recognize the value without being shouted at. Number 1. Ghana. Ghana doesn't frame relocation as a transaction, it frames it as a reunion. While other countries talk about attracting talent, Ghana speaks directly to the African diaspora, especially Black Americans, and says plainly, you were never really a stranger here. Through land access initiatives, business incentives, tax holidays, and clear citizenship pathways, Ghana has built one of the most intentional return strategies in the world. This isn't, come visit and spend money. This is, come back and build. The modern turning point came with 2019's Year of Return, marking 400 years since the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. What could have been a one-year marketing moment turned into a long-term policy shift. Since then, programs like Beyond the Return have expanded pathways for residency, investment, and even citizenship for people of African descent. Ghana made remembrance actionable, and then kept going. Ghana is one of West Africa's most stable democracies. Power changes hands peacefully, elections are competitive, and institutions mostly hold their ground. It's not perfect, no country is, but it's predictable in a region often unfairly painted as chaotic. That stability matters when you're considering uprooting your life, starting a business, or buying land that you'd like to keep. Geographically, Ghana is warm, coastal, and green. Palm-lined beaches stretch along the Atlantic, while inland forests and savannas support agriculture and trade. Accra, the capital, is loud, creative, and unapologetically alive. Traffic is a personality trait. Music spills out of everywhere. Time is flexible. Very flexible. You don't move to Ghana for urgency, you move for rhythm. Culturally, Ghana is deeply proud. This is a society where history isn't buried. It's spoken, danced, and worn. From kente cloth to naming ceremonies, culture isn't decorative. It's functional. For Black Americans, the experience can be emotionally grounding and occasionally overwhelming. You're not asked to explain your existence. You're asked where you've been. Economically, Ghana is positioning itself as a hub for diaspora-led business, tech startups, agribusiness, and creative industries. Incentives exist to reduce startup costs, protect foreign investment, and encourage long-term settlement. You may not be handed cash outright, but access to land, opportunity, and belonging has real value. There you have it, 10 countries that are actively attracting Black Americans, not with hype, but with grants, tax incentives, residency pathways, land access, and long-term incentives. Some of these places offer cash, others offer opportunity, but all of them are betting on new people to help write the next chapter. None are perfect, but each has decided the Black diaspora is an asset worth investing in. The real takeaway isn't free money. It's choice, leverage, and access. Which country surprised you the most? Which of them are you thinking of moving to? Drop it in the comments and let's compare notes. If this opened your eyes in any way, like the video, subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and share it with someone who's been quietly thinking about leaving.